Many things in life are very relative. Two students pass the same exam with the same mark, but the joy and satisfaction may be quite different. Similarly, I may find the weather of Bangalore in June to be hot or pleasant, depending on whether I am coming from Ooty or whether I am travelling from Delhi. Hence, title of this video is Relatively Speaking. As a child, I used to find science very interesting. Sometimes the part of visualizing certain things itself was quite fascinating. How would it be to walk on the moon or at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean? How would it be living with early man, walking with dinosaurs and running away from a saber-toothed tiger? I had always wondered how big the dinosaurs really were. Having a number say 24 meters, it is difficult to gauge the size. I remember when in school going to Natural History Museum in Delhi and being in awe of the exhibits. They used to give these cards with information and with a small sketch of a man and a dinosaur to understand what were their relative sizes. You have to understand that these were the times when Jurassic Park movies had not been released. So, is a dinosaur 3 times my height, or taller than my school, or maybe even taller than the Qutb Minar? Here in this child sketch, you can clearly see how tall is Apatosaurus when compared to an elephant, giraffe or a house. I used to feel sad thinking that I did not get a chance to see such large animals because they have become extinct 65 million years ago. By the way, do you know the animal species which is the largest ever to live on this earth? Well, the interesting thing is that it is not extinct and it is very much around. Yes, it is the blue whale. Imagine a mammal which is almost as long as 3 Volvo buses, 30 meters. A blue whale's head is so wide that about 30 people could stand on the tongue. Its heart is as big as a small car, and its arteries are wide enough that you could climb through them. At birth, a blue whale calf is about 8 meters long and weighs more than an elephant. You can see this image gives a relative idea as to how big blue whale is. How tall is Mount Everest? 8.8 kilometers tall from the sea level. That is the distance from Christ University to City Railway Station near Majestic, but 90 degrees straight up. But how tall is it when compared to the earth? It is actually just like a small bump on the surface of a basketball. Compare that with 8.8 kilometers. Now, when you compare Earth with the other close by planets, Earth is well placed, Mars, Venus, Mercury. But can you guess how big it is? Would be that if it was placed with Jupiter on the backdrop. Next, how small is Jupiter when placed at the backdrop of the Sun? How big is the Sun when compared to our galaxy, Milky Way? It is not very large. In fact, it is one of the smaller stars, and that too a second generation star. You suddenly realize that it is not the Sun or the star which is big, but what is bigger is the distance between them. Like James Jeans once said, place 3 grains of sand in a vast cathedral and the cathedral will be more tightly packed than space is with stars. Now, let us explore the other extreme. Ernest Rutherford experiment of 1909 is interesting. He was shooting these alpha particles through a very thin gold film and he expected the particles to pass through, but he noticed some alpha particles were observed to rebound backwards as if striking something much more massive than the particles themselves. You must all be aware that atoms consist of electrons, protons and neutrons. The nucleus of an atom, which we today understand as the place we would find protons and neutrons, well, this is what Rutherford discovered that day. Now imagine that nucleus is the size of one pea. How big is an atom? As big as an apple? Maybe a football? Well, you may be surprised to know that it would be as big as a football stadium. So imagine the pea in the center of that stadium, and the electrons are running in the stands. Again, you would notice that there is so much emptiness even in this microscopic level. In an interview, Rutherford said, "It was quite the incredible event that has ever happened to me in my life. It was almost as incredible as if you fired a 15-inch shell at a piece of tissue paper and it came back and hit you." He won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for this discovery. Another way to visualize an atom is to use numbers. An atom is 0.00000001 of a millimeter. But how much is that? I request you all to look at a wristwatch. You will notice the seconds needle. Imagine you are standing on it. Yes, standing on the middle of that needle, and in awe that you cannot see the edges of your world, because you are so small it is like standing in the middle of a desert. Now bend down and pick some grains of sand. Well, that is the size of an atom. Now let us look at time relatively. We are used to measure time in years. We know a UG course would take us 3 years to complete. The longest a political party in India has remained in power in the center is 17 years. Akbar the Great ruled for 50 long years. Imagine a grandfather, a father and a son going to school over a period of time. Imagine the teacher asking the question, "Who is the king?" And all three would have answered Akbar. 50 years is a long time indeed for us. But compare this time to how long British ruled India, almost 300 years. The new empire of the Egyptian civilization reigned for almost 500 years, from 1550 to 1069 BC. Let us now take this measure to the next level. Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago, and life on Earth has existed for the last 3.8 billion years. Let us take this whole time since life evolved and compress that into 1 year. So assume that the first cell appeared at 12 AM on Jan 1st of this year, and today to be the midnight of 31st December. On this scale, 1 day is equal to 10 million years. If bacteria came in early Jan, when do you think fish appeared? March, April, May? You may be surprised to know that in August we only got algae. So from January to August we have only progressed from bacteria to algae. In early December we will get lizards, and by December 10th we have got the majestic dinosaurs. Dinosaurs ruled the earth for 150 million years. That means till Christmas, December 25th, who is the king? Dinosaur. Wait a minute, when does man make an entry in this calendar? Any guesses? Yes, 31st December, that too evening 5 PM. And keep in mind, this is the prehistoric man. If we meet this man on the street, chances are we will take him straight to the zoo. On this scale, Big Bang would have happened 3 years back, considering 1 year as 3.8 billion years. Assuming 1 day is as good as 10 million years, again for a final stretch of imagination, imagine the time from Big Bang to today as a piece of wooden log 1.5 meters wide, or as much as your arms are stretched out. Scientists have calculated this duration to be 13.4 billion years. Now take a nail file and give a scratch at the end of this log. Do you know what you just did? You removed the very existence of human beings. Do you still think that the earth and everything on it belongs to us? Think of it. Until we meet next time,